welcome, guys. Welcome to another episode of Ask the Experts with Alka. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm always inspired by the entrepreneurs who come on my show. And today is no doubt no exceptional. You will be inspired. So, without further ado, welcome and thank you so much for tuning in. How did my podcast journey begin? First of all, I want to start. How did my journey begin? So, my core of the being is empowerment. I love to empowerment. And for the past 6 years, I ran a very successful fitness studio here in Toronto, empowering my clients to really gain the strength, but not just physically and mentally. And it starts with the mental, your mindset. And along the way, my clients, they achieve tremendous results. And so that is truly gratifying for me as an owner of the studio to seeing my clients just thrive. So I've had amazing wins in my life, but I've had failures too. And I believe that it's in the failures that we truly become who we are meant to be, my friends. We are meant to be. We are becoming that individual. And today I inspire my clients by teaching women real estate investing, to gaining the confidence, to gaining the mindset right to when it comes to investments. So this is how my podcast journey began, and I am so truly grateful to see my clients thrive, the women who are gaining knowledge, who gain the confidence when it comes to investment. And so today the theme is empowerment, it is mindset, it is dream big, and don't let your failures, doesn't matter what adversities you are facing, whether it comes to ill health problems, it does not matter. Don't have your beginning be your end. And today's conversation is with the amazing Ben Salmi family. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. The Ben Salmi are an ordinary family with a mission to provide the next generation with the tools, resources, and opportunities, and be the role models to enable people to thrive. They'd love to be on a TV series, empowering so many families, young generations, that is possible. That does not matter the adversities that you are facing, whether due to ill health or bullying, everyone has the potential. And the Bell Summit are a perfect example of how your beginning is not your end, for sure. Together, they have housed over 4 decades of experience in the business and personal development world. At a very young age, the Ben Salmi siblings, as known as the Fantastic Five, they are often compared to the Jackson Fives. And yes, I can see that. So they are motivational speakers, they are mentors, and they have amazing experience being featured on, on TEDx, Channel 4, Sky TV, Steve Harvey, Brunel University, BBC News, London Live, the Bext Expo, Sky TV, and the list goes on. But these Fantastic Five, the Ben Salmi families, are here with me today, and I'm excited to really learn about their journey. And I'm sure you two are friends, to know about where their journey, where did they start? How did they achieve a mass stardom that they are achieving today? And how are they inspiring so many young people around the world? And so today, I want to start with, what is your background story? What is your backstory for the viewers who don't know you? What is your origin and what is your background? What's your backstory? And most importantly, where did stardom begin?
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having us, Alka. We're so honored to be with you here today on your amazing platform that you've created. We've tuned into some of the other episodes and absolutely love what you've done so far. And for us, I think if we individually share this sort of unique piece of the puzzle that we played. So I would say the whole catalyst for our journey really did start after I unfortunately went through bullying in school. which led to me having to be taken out of school. And at the time, so this would have been like 2007, 2008, bullying wasn't widely spoken about. So as a little kid, I just thought that there was something wrong with me. I lost my confidence, and mum actually had to end up taking me out of school. And it was about a 1.5 year period where I wasn't in school. And instead of putting me in childcare or directly back into another school, mum decided to start taking me to business and personal development events with her. So I'd sit in these rooms. At first, I really didn't like being in those environments. I was surrounded by tons of people. I was still dealing with my own confidence and healing from what I went through. But I'd listen to what they were saying in the rooms and take down the teachings. And it really just dawned on me that I wanted to take what I was learning in these environments with adults and convert them into something kids could understand and learn from. So that if you're a kid out there that's maybe been bullied or gone through a certain adversity, that you can use all of these skills, nuggets, and tools to turn your adversity into empowerment. So unfortunately, each of us have respectively experienced bullying in school. We haven't had the best experiences. It made us push to do more, to be more, and to help others to do the same. So Tray-Sean, I don't know if you want to share a little snippet as well.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, I got started at around the age of 8 years old, and that involved attending many personal development events. And the whole aim was just to develop my confidence. And in doing so, I was able to find, I find myself, find my passions. And from there, I just decided to take it to the next level, really. And then ever since, we've just been doing what we love at a whole nother level. So we've gone on to actually own our own publishing houses, do many public speaking engagements, and just share what we do with the world, really.
That is quite amazing. That is so good. And Paula, how about you? Where did your stardom, would that begin?
If I see my siblings do something, I just want to copy what they were doing and be the next person in line. So obviously, as my brother and my older sister, Shane Tray-Sean, published their book, then Yasmin published her own book and set up her own brand. I was like, why can't I do it too? So I guess that was where my journey started. But then the real big adventure was when my mom chucked my PlayStation out. Yeah, chucked it in the bin because
You had no choice.
I actually wrote a book about it. Yeah, so it was just a really hard time for me. I'd lost my best friend at the time, and yeah, it was just a really hard time for me to cope. And my PlayStation was in the bin, and that's where my first adventure started. And like how at the time the PlayStation was controlling me, my emotions. And this guy wasn't helping at all, and he beat me all the time. But I guess that's where I got started, and that's where it got me today, writing these different book series.
Perfect. No, that is, well, you know what? Congratulations on that. And you know what? Absolutely, that is so good because, even within siblings, not just friends, but within siblings, is that model mimic mastery. So if one sibling is doing something great and they're really achieving what they're doing, model what they are doing and you will get the success. So I love that, Paula. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Yasmin and Amiri? Amiri, how did your stardom begin? How did you find yourself and what you're achieving right now?
So thank you so much, Alka, for having us on your podcast. It's absolutely amazing.
You're welcome.
Seeing all the stuff that you're doing on social media, I absolutely love it. So I'm Yasmin. I'm 14, turning 15 this month. And I mainly focus around love, self-love, happiness. And my journey kind of started when I was in school. So I had the same type of journey as Lashai. So I got bullied a lot in school. I had to move from different schools. And I really had to learn who I wanted to be as a person. So I got rejected a lot from other young people. I couldn't really go into certain playgroups. So I had to discover who was it that I wanted to become that was better than who I used to be. Let's say if I saw some of my friends that were playing in certain friend groups, I started to compare myself to the people that they were playing with because those weren't people that I wanted to surround myself with. So my journey kind of started for me to wake up and acknowledge who I wanted in my circle and who I didn't want in my circle and who I wanted to be and who I wanted to project to other people of who I wanted to become.
That is so beautiful, so beautifully said. Because, oftentimes we always, and myself included, I was bullied too at school. And that was the most traumatic time for any child. Any child. I mean, I hated going to school. I hated being at home. I was that individual, that child I was lost. And for most people, people are lost and they don't know where they want to be because they don't fit in at school. And I think always, if you agree with me, do you find that we should not fit in? Not like Cinderella, the glass slipper. We should not fit in, quote unquote, but we should be our individuals, be who we are and who we are becoming in the process. Do you agree? Or do you think how kids can change?
I do agree totally. I think there's also a quote where it says, don't try to fit in, try to be the person outside the box, try to stand out outside of the box, outside of what everybody else is doing. And in that quote, I also created a system that I like to teach people, which has been quoted by the head of the Royal Family Office in Dubai. And the 3 pillars consist of something to do, someone to love, and something to hope for. So I think as kids and adults or people in this day and age, don't try to fit in, but try to stand out, doing what you love and being the unique version of your own self.
Absolutely, because the more you try to stand out, people are going to emulate you. Like Paolo, he saw all of you were achieving what you were doing, and Paolo wanted to do that, model, mimic, mastery. And the more you try to model the other person, the more you are going to be that individual. So thank you for sharing that, Yasmin. And Amire, last but not least, amazing Amire. How did stardom begin for you?
So my journey started at the age of 3 years old. I published my first book at 3. I'm 9 now, and thank you so much, Alka, for inviting us to this interview. And yes,
You're welcome, Amire.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think for Amir, his journey really started. So I don't know if you want to mention it, but he, similar to Paolo, saw all of us like with our books and our branding. And well, at least where I remember is we were at this speaking engagement once and we were doing a keynote. And he came up with us, like he was very small. He came up with us, he was just kind of like, hi, everyone. And then we all presented. And that when we got home that day, he said to Mum, like, Mom, that was so embarrassing. Everyone else had their own books and their own brands, and I just had to say hello. Like I have a dream as well, and I have a message.
That was so nice. That was so nice, though.
Yeah, so he was really driven because like he's always been in love with affirmation. So he was at this event, like just having to say hi and be a cute little mascot. But he was like, I want to say something too. So we began writing his book. He came up with all the affirmations and would type it with us. And yeah, do you want to share what your mission is? Because
so my mission is to put a smile over 1 million people's faces, starting with
that
you.
is so nice. Oh, thank you. Well, my heart, I'm melted right now. That is amazing. Well, you know what, Amira, you are such a special person. You know that. You are such a special person. Don't ever forget that. And that is so amazing. So I'm just so grateful that all of you, I can be here today and just share with viewers the journey that you are on and the journey that you will be continuing. But in the meantime, I just want to switch gears and talk about, like, all of you are fantastic 5 and absolutely inspirational, absolutely amazing. Now, when it comes to sibling, there's always sibling rivalry. Now, with all of you, you are very close-knit. Your mother, she's grounded you very well, how you've all become your individual, young men and women. But there's always sibling rivalry. That always happens in any family. What is your secret to being together and achieving the mass success that you are having?
Oh God, I think I'll start with that one, and I think
Okay,
Tray-Sean might have something to add, or Yasmin after. But I think for us, weirdly enough, in no way are we perfect. Like we have our little sibling quarrels and we have like our little mishaps, but we tend not to like struggle with a lot of sibling rivalry. Mum has always done a good job at raising us in a very certain way to say that everyone is a unique piece to the puzzle and like they're not comparable. Like if Yasmin's achievements are going to be compared to mine or whoever's, like it just wouldn't make sense to us because it's not comparable. We're both a unique piece of the puzzle. You could say the corner piece is more important than the middle piece. So I think we look at it that way. We will have our times of like we have like little inside jokes of like who has the most books and like if we've got another one working on a project, but like I want to do one too. So it's more so used as sort of motivation for each of us and keeping each other accountable rather than trying to compete or like who can be quote unquote the best or do the most. So at least that's my perspective. But
I don't think, as carrying on from what Lashai said, there is no sibling rival, and also what Lashai said as well, we're not perfect, but I think the only thing that we do is to help each other to gain more. It's not about the competition, because if there is one sibling or somebody in the family that is thriving more than somebody else, we each have different niches that we specialize in. So there's no point us trying to compete or trying to, you know, see who has the most of this or who has the most attraction, books, everything. I think the most sibling rival that we may have is learning to motivate each other more.
Right.
That would be the only sibling rival. There's no competition, because at the end of the day, we each come back to the same home. We're each the same person, and there's no point competing with somebody that you don't really specialize in.
Exactly. But you know what? Don't compete, but create. Create your own individuality. Create your own mission that you are all individually on and what you all individually are doing. So just create. Don't compete. And I love that. So I was talking about rivalry in the sense that, you know, most siblings, they fight and then the whole family kind of like dissipates. And then that unit that once was there is now gone. It's fragmented because no one really like cares, because it's that fighting that happens. But I love all of you, because, and the viewers can really be inspired by this, is how you are motivating each and every one. If you have a down moment, maybe we all have down moments. That's what, you know, no one's perfect. But in the midst of that, having that down moment, you are, you know, Paolo will uplift you and say, hey, Yasmin, what's the matter? You know, let's do this, right? And your mood gets elevated. So I love that you motivate one another. And Paolo and Tray, what are your secret? What do you do to really keep like every one of you, like, you know, that stable?
Well, I just want to go back to a quote I heard the other day, which was that there's no I in team. So obviously when we work together and when we come together as a team, if one of us fails, we all fail. My mom likes to use the kind of example as being at a table. Now, if one of the legs fall off, the whole table will fall. No matter how strong each and every one of the legs are, and it's so how bendable it is, or how like unbreakable it is, or how durable it is. If you're one leg short on a table, it's likely that the table's going to fall. So and also there's a premise of you being your own competition. You know, there are competitions we have in between ourselves, but that's like healthy competition, and we use that to motivate each other. But also we are our own competition. We want to do better than we did yesterday. We want to write more books than we did yesterday, and one day I'm going to write more books than this guy. So but yeah, I guess there can be sibling rivalry, but as long as it's healthy, as long as you're using it to motivate each other and in the best way possible.
Absolutely. And Tray, do you want to add?
Yeah, second what's been said already, really, because I feel like there's a lot of healthy competition whereby, let's say, like Paolo said, like for instance, he wants to write more books than me. Saying that way we're always pushing
Well, don't tell Paolo that.
Yeah, so we're always pushing each other to do more and constantly achieve more. Like for instance, yeah, just for everything really. Like even with trading, I remember quite a while back where there was a long-term trade that me and Lashai were looking at, and Lashai was like, I told you, you should buy Tesla, you should buy Tesla. I was like, no, it's not time yet. And a couple of months had passed, and she was like, yeah, you should have bought Tesla. So it really does show there's a lot of like healthy competition, and then even in doing that, like, yeah, I was kind of nervous, like, yeah, maybe I should have listened. But I think it definitely helps with like moving forward because we're all able to come together and I guess like shed a bit of light on anything and everything really, but it just pushes us all to constantly stay on our game and then just to know that we can then reach out to each other for help as well because like there's a number of things that each and every one of us has to share to add and there's just so many insights that we can share to help each other get to the desired outcome in a fraction of the time. So yeah, I think that it like works nicely.
It sure does. When there's a healthy, that healthy concept of, the competition, right? But if it's healthy, that's always good because it's not destructive. So Amire, do you have anything you want to add to that, what your siblings have shared before I go into the next conversation?
All I wanted to add is that if one of us win, all of us win.
Oh, I love that. But you know what? That is so true. Absolutely. I agree. If you win, everyone's going to win. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And now I want to talk about empowerment because you guys, I watched Yasmin, I watched your TED Talk that you did in 2020 and Trey with your in 2021, the TED Talk you did. So inspirational. I mean, when it comes to empowerment, I love empowering, and you all are empowering your own individual, unique way. You are empowering. So this is a two-part question. How do you all empower kids of today? And number two is, what is the concept of empowerment?
I think for us, individually, maybe one of you can share a different take on it. But the kids of today, I think the way that we tend to try and do our part to empower them is through showing them that even though we've been heavily blessed and we have all these skills, there's nothing special about us. We've just been fortunate enough to be able to activate and to be in the right spaces and have the right mentors. So we like to really empower kids that as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you're passionate about whatever your dream is, and it doesn't have to be like a cookie cutter dream of wanting to be an astronaut or a doctor. Those things are amazing. You can be that if you want to be, but there are so many other things out there that are super niche. Like we've had kids that we've worked with and mentored and where they've wanted to pursue these really niche professions. And we're like, wow, we didn't even know about that, but we need that in the world. So It's really just reminding people that they're each a unique piece of the puzzle, that there are no duplicate pieces of us in the world. Even if you have an identical twin, you're not going to be exactly the same. So everyone is beautiful, perfect, and unique just the way they are. And it's just helping them to remember that, because we all knew that when we first came into the world as a baby. You don't know any otherwise. You think you can fly and jump off of things. Right. So it's just reinstalling that back into kids. But I don't know if any of you guys have anything you want to share on that.
Yeah, feel free to just jump in. Everybody who wants to jump in, just feel free.
Okay, so carrying on from what Lashai said, I think empowerment and teaching young kids in this day and age about empowerment is so profound, because I think a lot of kids nowadays with social media, everybody's trying to be a certain way or to be seen in a certain way or to gain clout, to become viral. And although those things are great, it's just the way that you use it. So empowerment, we like to teach kids that, you can be and do whatever you want to be and whatever you want to do. It all just comes with the right mindset. So carrying on from what Lashai said, where some kids that we've seen are just wanting to become a person of influence or people that they can inspire other people to do more of. There was this kid that we found, and he was so amazing. He said he wanted to make a difference by becoming a train driver. And some people may just, it's a train and everything, but he said the fact that you can take people to and from their destination, and that so cool. It made him happy seeing people go to and from their destination. And I think the little things in life is what really makes the difference, because it's things that we don't usually see or don't really appreciate that other people are more going forward to doing. But I think empowerment, it needs to be a subject that a lot of kids should speak about, and to help other kids as well if they're struggling with empowerment. And I think it all comes down to not comparing yourself with other people, because social media that we have nowadays, you'll see somebody on the internet with a big house or things that you may want, and you're like, why can't I be this person? And a quote that I really love to share with a lot of people about not comparing yourself is, don't compare yourself to other people, because there's no comparison between the sun and the moon. They both shine when it's their time. So don't try to fit in or try to, be that person that people want you to be, but instead be the person that you want to be.
Absolutely. And that is that's something people people always like compare, and there's always that comparison, like even social, like you bought social media, like people, okay, how much did so and so likes did they get? Oh, why didn't I get so and so likes? Well, you know what, when we put ourselves into that mindset, then we always are going to be comparing, because it's just human nature. It's just who we are. We're just wired that way. Oh, we'd always like want to compare. They got like 1,000 likes. Oh, well, how come I didn't get 1,000? But I was like to, and you know what, I was like this, but then I had to change my reprogram my mindset, because I was in that fixed mindset. Oh, I was comparing. So I won't lie, I was that person. But then it comes down to, what, if you're always constantly in that frame of mind, then you're always going to be in a plateau, right? You've been in a plateau, you won't go far. So now what I do, I just like to be in the present. If I'm just in my zone, being that present, like Amira said so beautifully, you've got to be in that happy place. And whatever that happy place is, you need to just acknowledge that. And so that was so beautiful. And Trey and Paolo, do you want to share anything before I go ahead to the next conversation?
Okay. I think when it comes to empowerment or motivation or things like that, I think it's great. But when you involve it into your life as a discipline, then it becomes so much better. Because like motivation, empowering yourself, that only lasts so long. But when you have the discipline to know that even when I'm tired, I got to push this much to make that next step to get to the next checkpoint. So involving empowerment into your life as a discipline makes your life so much easier. No, not easier. It's going to be harder, but at the end of the roller coaster, your life is going to be so much easier. Knowing that you put in this hard work and you use empowerment as a discipline, rather than like a 5-second booster, and actually involving it into your life, and also just empower others around you. If you think of natural laws of the universe, like how things propel forward. When you want to launch an arrow, it has to be pulled back. Someone else has to pull you back in order to launch you back into that destination.
That's right.
You think of anything, it has to go backwards and also in order to propel you. So think of who in your life is helping you to get to where you need to go, and think, how can I help other people to get to where they need to go to?
Exactly. I love that. So uplifting other people, uplifting others, not only you uplifting yourself, but when we uplift other people, we get uplifted ourselves. And that is so beautiful. And also when you, like Yasmin, you talked about social media, and now a lot of people, they always constantly online, and whether otherwise if they're not playing games, they're not online constantly. And so this has an effect on the mental health. And I wanted to reverse and I talk about when it came to the child, you are a child star and you'll discover, like the likes of Michael Jackson, he got stardom when he was young. Demi Lovato was another. So why do kids have a rough time? And what are the effects on mental health that it has on the up and coming, rising stars? Why, there's a two-part question. Why do kids have a rough time when they first being discovered, and what are the effects on mental health on kids nowadays?
Well, I think that it all comes down to the infrastructure and people around them, and really who it is that they're surrounding themselves with. And I think as kids in this day and age, teenagers, in fact, they have so much of this wanting to prove themselves to be something that they may not be in real life. And I think it might be hard for teenagers themselves to come out to be who they actually are, because there's so much of people coming around telling them how they should be instead of how they can help them to become who they actually are. So I think for young kids or teenagers in this day and age, they really just need help to find who they are and what their purpose is in this world. For us, it may be Lashai is like connecting different cultures together. For me, it's becoming a plastic surgeon. So I think for kids now, it's just finding out what you want to be now, so that when you're older, you already have that mindset of, you know, being focused, having that mindset of, you know, knowing what you want to do, who you want to impact, and where you want to go. So it all just comes down to infrastructure and the people around you. Your circle is everything. The people you let in, like it can be in the sneakiest way. You'll have a friend that in front of your face will be really nice, but behind closed doors, they may not be the person that you thought they were actually. So I think it's just finding people who are like you, but not in the way where they're exactly like you. You need to surround yourself with people that are better than you, or in places that you want to be, so that you get the mindset of, wow, this person achieved what they achieved today because of certain things that they were doing. What is it that I can implement into my life that I can then teach other people?
Absolutely. Your environment, and I love that point you mentioned, because your environment is but your looking glass. And your environment is everything. Who you surround yourself with, you know, it doesn't matter in your family, but your friends, most importantly, because they are the influencing part of your life. And we need to select the right kind of friends who are there for our development, who are there for us every step of the way, good times or bad times. So I think mental health is a stigma, but mental health, especially nowadays amongst, you know, kids, it plays a very important part. So what are the effects on mental health on kids nowadays? What do you think? What are the effects that what happens? And how can we as a society help kids today?
Yes, unfortunately, at least like with kids that we've come in contact with, our clients and kids that we see online, there's been such an increase in things like depression and other mental health issues, solely because of the fact that we're over consuming to some extent. So if you now picture this young person who's quite impressionable, still developing their perception of the world, their perception of self, and really owning who they are, but they're seeing like all of this different imagery. Like if you're 15, you should have already achieved this, or you should already have 1 million followers, or you should have X, Y, and Z, or this and that.
Well, that comes down to expectations, though, isn't it?
Exactly. So it's like having your own, so amidst all the noise and whatever else is going on and the other norms, it's creating your own norms. Where is it that you want to be? What are your own goals and dreams outside of maybe what your peers are doing or what other people are doing? So we really do challenge and really encourage young people to take time off social media. It's fine to have social media cleanses. We know that your friends might not think it's cool. You might miss a few trends that happen. But actually take the time to come offline sometimes. Take the time to detox. Tap into who you are. What are your goals and dreams? What makes you happy? What do you need? And I know it can be very hard. It's sort of easier to say now that I'm an adult, but when you're maybe in school, that feels like your whole world, and it feels like this is real and this life is always going to be. But trust me, like 90% of the people that you know in school aren't going to transfer into your adult life or into your professional lives or those settings. So really start to develop yourself now. Pursue whatever you're passionate about, whether your friends think it's cool or not. You're the only person that's going to be with you forever. And by you fulfilling your highest potential, you're doing an injustice to the world. There may be someone that's waiting to hear your story or watch your movie or learn from you in some way. So I think just taking that step back, having like a social media cleanse, maybe letting go of some friends, which can be super uncomfortable, but it might be necessary. As a young person, I can personally relate, and I know some of the others might as well, but sometimes you get all this advice of you need to control your environment or let some people go. But as a kid, you tend not to have that much control over your environments. So the only thing that we can encourage you to fully change is your mindset. Take time out where you can. research things that are going to help better yourself rather than just scrolling on TikTok for hours. We love TikTok, but don't just be on there for hours and hours, but actually take time to research the things that you're interested in. Try to connect with communities that are in alignment of what you want to pursue and that sort of thing.
And also, you know, when it comes to, you know, in your personal growth, like you need to have that other outlets. That what are you passionate about? I think Lashai, you touched on that. Like, what are you passionate about? Because the more passionate you are about what you are endeavoring into, like Trey, I want to touch on you about you're in finance and how important. So I saw your TED Talks in 2021. How important is financial literacy now? You know, as a unit, as parents, is our obligation that we really enrich our kids about financial literacy is the norm, and it really needs to be instilled. How important is financial literacy?
As if you don't have a basic understanding of how to manage money, then you're gonna get into a tricky spot where you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're stuck in jobs that you don't actually like, and it just takes away your freedom. So when you're able to get just even a basic understanding of financial education and just become financially literate, then you're able to take control of your life. Like, for instance, with myself, I'm into trading, and trading allows people to actually have freedom. They're able to sort of like just basic things, really, like a balance sheet, and just being able to actually put all these things down on paper, so that way they're able to, one, actually come up with that number. What's that number for you of financial freedom? Like, what does it actually look like? Because in that way, when you're able to actually work like that and be like, okay, I need to be making this much weekly, this much monthly, this much every year, then you have something to work towards. And then it makes every other goal seem very easy. And that way you're able to achieve so much more. Because when you're able to get started nice and early, later down the line, it becomes a lot easier. Like, even with myself, when I got started with trading, it was very, very, like, the first 6 months went really well. Then from there, it was a bit crazy, and it took me a while to actually get back on that winning streak and for me to become a lot more consistent, because I wasn't used to trading when the markets were changing and things like that. But it's about getting started early so you're able to learn those lessons, and then later along the line, it becomes child's play.
Absolutely. Do you find also, if we don't have a mentor, and I'm sure you had a mentor, but if a child who wants to learn about say Forex, for example, a child wants to learn, do you feel that the parents need to take them at their work where they are, so that they can, because kids are like, they're sponges, they absorb. And so do you find also that if parents can take them to the place of work, that they also can gain the knowledge as to what happens, how is money, you know, how would we need to invest money, save money, protect our money if you don't have a mentor?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even with myself, I run these trading mastermind groups to actually help take people along this journey.
That's really
good.
good.
I was 14, so I had time. I was willing to wait. I was willing to put in a couple of years to learn. Whereas if I was to have gotten started now, I don't think I would have waited as long to actually get started. So I was thinking, okay, if people are looking to get started around a similar age to me, as I'm 17 at the moment, would they actually be looking to put in a year, 2 years before actually getting started and before they can actually earn money?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you'd agree on that. That's not the case. Like, most kids around my age aren't willing to put in 1, 2, 3 years of work to finally start getting paid. So that's why I looked into ways that they're able to earn whilst they learn, without having to actually do anything themselves. But yeah, I think it's definitely important to just get started, give it a go. Even if you have to wait a little while to find a mentor, think about using things like YouTube and taking a look at articles. And there are many trading platforms out there where these successful traders actually share their strategies, so that we're able to learn without having to, that we're able to learn without having to actually have a mentor as such. But I think it's definitely important to have a mentor, because then they're able to get you to the desired outcome a lot quicker.
Exactly. Well, yeah, absolutely right. I mean, if you don't have a mentor straight away, there's always other alternatives. You know, online resources, you can just learn. because there's so much that's available. But I think financial literacy, it is very important that kids, they do learn now when they're younger. So as they grow older, they're more better able, they've had that knowledge of how to earn, save, and protect their money, having that nest egg. So Paula, I want to come to you before I come to my final question. Now, starting for you, Paula, you achieved at such a young age, right? You started at such a young age. Do you ever feel that you missed out on your childhood? I mean, some kids, they do, but did you ever miss out on your childhood?
That's a great question. Well, to answer it honestly, I would say that even up until this day, and even when I was younger, I never wanted to be a famous person. Like I don't want to be a famous person. I don't do this to be famous. I do this because I want to help other young people. Like obviously, if the stardom and the fame comes with all of this, and it's a done and deal package, then that's fine. And at least it'll come on naturally. But I've never wanted to be a famous person, so I definitely wouldn't say I've missed out on my childhood because I got to spend my childhood with other kids who are doing super cool things.
Amazing.
Like me. Yeah, so it's a great question there. I see where you're coming from with that. But definitely not. I've had a great time with my family. Having 4 other siblings, you never get bored. So if I said I missed out my childhood, there would be something wrong. Let's just say we're neglecting each other if that happened, but definitely not.
No, that's amazing. I mean, I'm sure there's no boredom. I mean, that word in your family, I'm sure does not exist because there's so much that all 5 of you are constantly sharing ideas and concepts. So I'm sure that word does not get, does it happen in the family? Did that word boredom come in or?
Never. Never. We have an army of talkers in this family, so it's in our genetic it's in our genes to talk. So we love talking, and sometimes like I could say one of our talkers in the family definitely Yasmin and Amir. So we're never bored.
Me? I think that's Paolo.
Okay, well, he nominated you.
Well, no, there's never a dull moment. I think more than anything, we typically have to try to cultivate calm time and wind down time. But no, there's always a new conversation or research being done, or Yasmin will come down and say, oh, like, do you want to watch the surgery stuff? And like, we're all like quite squeamish. So there's always something going on.
That's amazing. And Amire, final question to you. How did stardom, did you want to be famous? Share us about your story. How did your stardom come with your amazing siblings? Did you want it to be famous? Do you still want to be famous? How do you see that happening for you?
So I don't want to be famous. I just want to share message with other kids, like affirmations and to put a smile on their face.
And to teach them chess.
Yes.
Because you love chess.
You play chess. Wow. Nice.
I've written a book on teaching kids and adults how to play chess.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And where can people find your book?
On Amazon.
Amazon. Perfect. Okay, so at the end of the show, I'll be saying that. So we're introducing your book. So, the final question that I ask all my guests is the 3 truths, right? So if today, of all the accomplishments that you are having, that you have had since a very early age, the stardom that you guys got on all media channels, right, on TV, radio, etc., of all the accomplishments that you've had, if today was your last day on earth, what would you want those 3 lessons to be remembered, and how can people learn from those lessons? Who wants to go first?
Okay. So number 1 would be learning the art of humility. Being a humble person can take you a very long way. No one wants to be around an ignorant, arrogant person who just talks about themselves, or someone that just likes to hear their own voice. They want to be around humble people. that listen to their ideas too. I like to say that the smartest person in the room is the quietest person in the room, because they're not thinking about what they're going to say next. They're wondering, how can I implement what that person just said, or how can I implement what she just said? And they're conforming a plan together on how they can take the next step in their life. It's the second thing I would say, would just to have fun with whatever you're doing. Like literally, I posted a Romulus of reading Cardoon on Clubhouse, and something that we love to say on there is that kids are the masters of fun. We've temporarily leased it out to adults as well, so that they can unleash the kid within themselves, because adults can be the masters of fun too, like release that kid within them. And like example, I just love when I read I read a biography of Steve Jobs the other day, and he's like, he's such a kid. Like it's awesome. Like this guy will have his feet up on the table, and I just, it's just great how you can have fun wherever you go, and definitely just release that kid within yourself. See how you can do things a different way. Being a kid could take your business from thousands to the 7-digit spectrum. Like being a kid is so much fun. Sorry to all the adults about that, but
that you know what, that is so true. I sometimes, even adults, we need to bring that childlike out, because you know, that childlike and that imagination, as kids we used to imagine. You know I did at school, but you know, now unfortunately in adulthood we miss out on that. We don't do that because now it's the business, we should focus on that, and you know, that's all that happens. But I agree, and I love that. So who wants to go next?
Me, please. So I would give loads of money to poor, and I will book them, like I'll buy them a home.
Do you want to let Yasmin go and you think a bit more? Yeah? Okay. Go on, Yasmin, you go on.
So 3 things that I want people to remember would be to find something to occupy yourself, especially as we're in this ever-evolving economy, just to find something that you're passionate about. The second thing would to be someone to love, finding someone that you can, you know, share that divine essence with. And the last thing is to find something or do something that you would like to hope for in the future, or that you would like to come for you, and to create abundance for you and people around you, just to hope for the best for your future. Because I think that's what a lot of young people need today, is to just hope for the best instead of being in the moment and not hoping for anything. So just hope for the best and just wait for it to come.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing, Yasmin. And Trey?
Yeah, with me, I think the first one would be consistent, as in doing so you're able to achieve goals in a fraction of time. It just makes the whole journey a lot easier. Secondly, it would be to value your time, as once you value your time, you're able to become a lot more productive. You're able to, it just affects everything really, because then once you value your time, you think about who do you spend your time with, what do you spend your time doing, and so on and so forth. So in that way, you're just able to become a lot better as a individual. And secondly, follow your passion, as in doing so, you're just able to, that spark never dies, because then once you follow your passion, it's something you can always wake up to and feeling super excited, super energetic to just go out there and just smash it. Like even with, like, once again with trading, like the reason why I'm able to do what I do day in and day out is because I'm actually passionate about it. And I think it's just about finding your passion, because then once you found something you're passionate about, you're always going to see how you're always going to seek improvement. You're always going to focus on how you can, I don't know, let's say let's say on a day-to-day basis, you're only impacting 10 people. You then work to impacting 20, 50, and so on and so forth. So it's just about constantly improving. And yeah, those are the 3 from me.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Trey. And Lashai?
Oh, I think for me, 3 truths that I'd want people to remember would be that there's no such thing as perfect. Like practice makes improvement. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be the best that you can be today, and then strive for more tomorrow. I think the second thing I'd want people to remember is that community and environment is so important. community on the large sense in terms of who's the big groups around you, community in the home, community amongst your siblings or your friends, and really trying to cultivate that. Unfortunately, not everyone is born into a family that's going to understand their dreams or be able to support in the right ways, but make it your mission to find the right people that can be around you, that can support you. It might be one person, it might be finding a mentor. And mum, for example, she always gives us the example that at school she was quite sick, so she would tend to get bullied by kids and stuff, so she didn't really have many friends at one point. But I think it was one of her teachers, he would teach her how to play chess, and he became one of her mentors as such at a very early stage. So sometimes what you're looking for doesn't always turn up the way that you hoped it would or envisioned it would. It could show up in a completely different way, and be okay with that, learn from that, embrace it, and just use it as water on your back and continue going. And then the last thing that I would say, oh, what's the last thing? Do you want to give me one more?
I'd say for them to remember who they are. Yes.
That's beautiful. That is so good, because you know, and sometimes we don't know where people are going to come from when we least expect it. Like for your mom, it was the teacher. So people just show up in our lives when we least expect it. But thank you all so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. It's so great seeing you all. You know, I've seen you online, but now live here on the show, it truly has made my day. And you know what? Thank you. You've ended my August on a higher note. You know, save the best for last, because, you know, next week is September, but thank you so much. You know, friends, this has been such an enlightening conversation with the Ben Salmi family. Is amazing. You know, the takeaways were, you know, adversities, don't let your beginning be your end. And finding your dream big, because there's always possibilities. We need to see that within us. And the more, you know, we educate the young generation of, you know, it's possible to achieve and want more. And parents, how they can play an important role. And Amire, where can people find your book?
On Amazon.
Amazing.
So, yeah, all of our books are available on Amazon, and you can Google any of our names to learn more. But before we go, Alka, I wonder if you mind us just sharing our family anthem with you?
Absolutely. Yes, go ahead.
Of course. So, and we believe that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step in the right direction. We also believe that there's no such thing as failure, only feedback. If you wanna be somebody, if you wanna go somewhere, you better wake up and pay attention. I'm ready to be somebody. I'm ready to go somewhere. I'm ready to wake up and pay attention. But the question is, are you?
Oh my God, amazing. Thank you so much. Wow, friends. Truly an inspirational family, and I cannot wait. Before we go, guys, where can people find you? Where can we support you on your journey?
So we're all searchable by name. Our surname is the easiest way to find us. So Ben Salmi, that's BEN space SALMI. And we're all on social media. Our books are on Amazon. And you can also head over to my website, which is www.lashai, Lashai, life according to lashai.com. Sorry, I should know my own website handle. But you can learn more about us there, and we offer opportunities, we run competitions, so maybe we can help any of you listening here today to get your message out to the world.
Absolutely. And do stay in touch with us. Let us know how about your journey. Let us know how we can support you. All right. And thank you so much, friends, for always tuning in. And I look forward to bringing on amazing entrepreneurs. Next Saturday, I have another amazing entrepreneur come on my show, and I get inspired. And today, being with the Ben Salmi family, known as the Fantastic Five, have truly inspired me, and I'm sure they've inspired you today, inspired every one of us each and every day. What they are doing, the path they are on, it's just amazing, and I cannot wait to see what's more in store. And so thank you so much for tuning in. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Marie, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Paolo. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Yasmin.
Thank you.